Hey, what up, it's Sai. I have a battle here with Dr. Spyral from the Level X League. This is a gym battle. He's the psychic gym leader, and it was a very good match. I think this is one of the best ones I've ever had. He sends out a Yuxi and I send out a Gengar, and he makes a good switch and goes into a Scizor, and I use Shadow Ball, and it brings him, doesn't do that much to him. So then I use Focus Blast, and that's going to bring him down to like 3 HP. And he uses Pursuit, and it's going to take out my Gengar, because Gengar's defenses suck. Then I send in a Dusknoir, and he switches into a Starmie, I guess thinking I was going to use Fire Punch or something. I don't know. But I use Shadow Sneak instead, and that's going to bring that down to red health also. Then he switches into a Flygon, and I use Shadow Sneak again, and that's going to bring him to a little more than half. I use Shadow Sneak again, that's going to bring him down to low yellow. He uses Outrage, that's going to bring me down to about half. I use Shadow Sneak again, that's going to KO the Flygon. I don't think that crit mattered. Then he sends in a Celebi, and I decide to stay in, and I use another Shadow Sneak. And it's going to bring a Celebi down to less than half. He uses Psychic, and I survive with 10 hit points, and I get the special defense drop. Or he gets the special defense drop. Then he switches into his Starmie to take my next Shadow Sneak, and that's going to take out his Starmie. Then he sends his Scizor back in, and I knew he would use Bullet Punch, and I knew that would outspeed me, so I switch into my Scizor, and it's actually going to do more than I thought. He uses Bullet Punch again, and I should have thought he was going to outspeed me, so I should have used Pursuit instead, but I go with Bullet Punch as well. So then he sends in his Yuxi, and I don't want my Scizor to die, so because I'm predicting a Psychic attack, so I switch into my Drapion, but he sets up a Stealth Rock on the switch, and that means I can't really bring in my Dusknoir anymore. I set up a sub, and he uses U-turn and gets a crit, and it takes out the sub, and he's going to switch into his Gallade. And I guess his Gallade's scarfed, because I don't think he's very fast, and Drapion is like max speed. But he uses Drain Punch, and that's going to bring me down to less than half. And I use sub again, and that's going to activate my Landsat Berry. He uses Drain Punch, that gets rid of my sub. And I use Night Slash, hoping for a crit, but I don't get one. So he uses Drain Punch again, that's going to take out my Drapion. He gets his health because it's a friggin' Drain Punch. I send in an Alakazam, and he uses Drain Punch again. I guess because he's choiced, and he has to be Scarfed because he's faster than my Alakazam. So it's going to bring me down to about half. And I use Signal Beam, thinking that would KO it. So I switch into my Dusknoir, and it dies from Stealth Rock, and, just to get a safe switch into somebody else. And Drain Punch doesn't hit anybody because there's no one there. So I switch into my Scizor, and he switches into his Yuxi, and I probably should have used Pursuit again. I switch into my Metagross, fearing another Psychic attack, but instead he uses Thunder Wave, and it's going to be really annoying. He uses Zen Headbutt, and I'm like, oh boy, this is a Paraflincher. It's like Jirachi. And he uses Zen Headbutt. It doesn't do much because I'm quad resistant, and I get paralyzed, so I can't do anything. Then he switches into his Gallade, and I get paralyzed again. He uses a Close Combat, and that's going to bring me down to low yellow. And I use Meteor Mash, and that's going to take out his Gallade. Yeah. Then he sends in his Celebi, and he uses Hidden Power. I guess it was Hidden Power Fire. Yeah, that takes out my Metagross. Then I switch into my Scizor again, and this is where I made the worst decision. I thought he was going to switch, fearing a Bullet Punch, so I was going to use Pursuit, finally. But the one time I don't use Bullet Punch, he predicts it, and he KOs my Scizor. I switch into my Alakazam, and I use Signal Beam. And I was going to take down his Celebi, and his last Pokemon's a Yuxi. I use Signal Beam, and it's going to bring it down to like low yellow, and he has U-turn, and it's a physical move. Alakazam's defense sucks, and that's going to take out my Alakazam. And that's good game, Dr. Spyral. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. Level X is acting kind of weird, so I can't leave a link to Level X in the description. And Sharpedo's Dank needs more people, so I will leave a link to that in the description as well. And I will see you next video, whenever that may be.